As the ill patient develops confidence and listens to instructions and directives of the medical team. The normal individual will mostly circumvent or at best pretend to take directives. Understanding this psychology, the management team continue to pursue our vision by remaining disciplined ourselves, prompt resumption to office with opening of time book and movement book, as well as educating our staff on civil service rules and regulations. At a later stage, we had to enforce civil service rules and regulations, particularly with reference to discipline. Attitudes began to change as staff did not want their files to be riddled with queries. Extortion became less rampant as we had our monitoring team in strategic places. We put up directive signs and displayed the cost of many itemized prices at the respective points. There were drawbacks when the ancillary investigation tools did not function. For example, when the X-ray machine and laboratory equipment broke down, we had to wait for the HMB headquarters to effect repairs. My medical practice did not suffer as I always had a passion for it. My tenure came to an end and I handed over to Dr. Daniel Omodo. I reverted back as the head of the Department of Medicine in January 2002 on full-time basis. I had just stepped down from a higher level of responsibility and had carried out my activities to the best of my abilities. It was time now to review my performance while continuing to make my own contribution at the monthly council meetings and continue my passion of medicine practice. An echo machine had been bought, and with the adult probe, I no longer had to improvise with the curvilinear probe. My diagnostic argument greatly improved. Along with my official duty as medical director, I was the financial secretary in Nigeria Medical Association, Delta State Chapter. I was also the treasurer of MDCAN, Delta State Chapter, during 2000 to 2002. I was the chairman of Medical and Dental Consultant Association 2004 to 2007. During this period, I did a lot of traveling to meetings of these bodies around the country, and I was part of the organizing team in most cases. Thankfully, I could cope because the home front was stable, with the children growing, the shell buses doing the school runs, and my husband in Warri to assist the family. I continued to develop myself clinically by attending national and international conferences and seminars at my own cost in order to remain up to date with modern trends and technology. I attended several NMA annual conferences, Nigerian Cardiac Society annual conferences, and international conferences. In August 2007, I was elevated and appointed to the position of a permanent secretary by His Excellency, the immediate past governor of Delta State, Dr. Emmanuel Udwan. Simply put, I was elated and became more determined to give back to Delta State more useful services. I knew and believed the best was yet to come for me to render more useful services. While I waited for my posting, I continued to engage in my passion, medicine. I saw the opportunity as an opportunity to further influence improvements to the hospital. I reflected that a drawback during my tenure was the incessant power outrage, which adversely affected both the day-to-day operations and the care of the patient. I knew the hospital needed a dedicated power supply line, a 33 kV line. Therefore, when Delta State Oil Producing Area Development Commission head office was established in Warri in 2008, I started a conversation with them on the need to offer corporate social responsibility in this regard. Within a short time, with the special assistance of Barrister Andrew Osawata, the secretary to the organization, the management team deliberated on it and approval was given. NEPA office was approached and arrangement was immediately put in place as funds were released for the purchase of the transformer. This was successfully energized in 2008. I felt a mission accomplished with a more steady power supply. The patronage of the hospital by the public continued to blossom, and there was the need to cater for those patients who stood in the hot sun at the various OPD. I sought the assistance of the Honorable Member representing Warri South Federal Constituency in the National Assembly, Honorable Daniel Ere-Ineju, After examination of my proposal, he released the sum of 3 million naira into the account of the hospital. This was judiciously utilized by the then medical director, Dr. Toju Eresanara, and his management team to construct parking lots which serve as shades with plastic chairs arranged for the comfort of our teeming patients. Once again, I felt another mission accomplished. The hospital also needed a projector to raise the level of our clinical presentation. I sought permission for direct purchase of a projector, and this was granted, and the funding was mainly from the medical department revolving fund. This improved the quality of clinical presentation, and today, most of the major hospitals in the state are accredited for continuous medical education. The chest clinic and ward activity were also being overseen by me, and we then needed a functioning microscope, as the microbacteria could not be picked up by the two dedicated ones in the laboratory. As I traveled on holidays abroad, I personally purchased a brand new German product from Surrey, outskirts of London, and carried it back to the department. This certainly was a big feat, as it put smiles on the faces of the laboratory scientists and of accuracy of sputum positive cases in terms of diagnosis. In July 2009, I received my first official posting to the HMB as the Chief Executive Officer. No doubt, this was the pinnacle of my career. More responsibility for the administration of 64 government hospitals widely spread in Delta State. At that time, HMB was at the lowest ebb in all ramifications. Thus, this posting was viewed with mixed feelings because I knew the confidence that the government of the day had in me to bring positive changes and progress to the affairs of the HMB. Equally, I knew the resistance to change that I will encounter from individuals who hitherto have been used to a way of life. I assumed work at the board in Asaba on the 2nd of August 2009 and was within a few weeks able to identify well-groomed administrators who I quietly and quickly tapped from their wealth of experience. The first 3 management meetings were very intense, and we spent long hours to discuss the problems of the hospitals managed by the board, as well as proper solutions. We came very intense, and we spent long hours to discuss the problems of the hospitals managed by the board, as well as proper solutions. We came out with our vision and mission statement, our goals and our objectives. My vision was that all of our hospitals should become centers of excellence in health care delivery system in Nigeria. To accomplish this, the mission was to provide efficient healthcare services with functioning equipment and an administrative framework that will facilitate prompt and timely service delivery. Everyone, including the general staff at the board, knew my direction. Foremost on my list was the staff welfare scheme. I will now go on to list my key achievements during my tenure at the board. On assumption of office in 2009, I observed that the board was indebted to our staff to the tune of 18 million, which comprised of transfer allowances, refund of tuition school fees, exam fees, medical fees, and payment of debt benefits. I took the bull by the horn and designed a modality with which to defray all the inherited debt. It may interest you to know that within a year, precisely by the end of 2010, I cleared the debt. Before I came on board, yes, because you have to look after them if you want them to do what you want them to do. Before I came on board, junior members of staff were used to getting their promotions on completion of a 3-year cycle instead of a 2-yearly cycle in line with the scheme of service. I corrected this anomaly, and junior staff started earning their promotions within 3 to 6 months of their due dates. Furthermore, all staffers of the board had been earning their promotion as at when due. This was achieved because of entrenchment of proactiveness and prompt action to issues under my watch. A reprographic center was established. A retrography center was established for use by the board, its staff and visitors, and to protect the confidentiality of HMP files and documents. In addition, a staff canteen was built within the premises to cater for feeding of staff and prevent unnecessary movement outside the board headquarters. Staff vehicle for consultants, which had earlier been initiated by me when I was the chairman MDCAN between 2000 and 2004, came in as CEO. More than 20-something doctors were giving their car, brand new consultants. In line with my uncompromising desire for the right things to be done, there were lots of idle health assistants and technicians at the board headquarters, where duties are mainly administrative. They were supposed to be in the hospital where their services are relevant. Their presence at the board was because they had godfathers. They had been left alone in the offices while the hospitals where their services were mostly needed suffered. Within 3 months of my assumption of duty, I identified this anomaly and directed that all affected staff be posted out of the board to the hospitals where their services were highly and rightly needed. My action has yielded positive impact and has been institutionalized. Prior to my appointment, the work ethic and the effective use of time book, movement book, monitoring book, and a formidable disciplinary unit to squarely address all cases of misconduct. It is a fact that in a work setting, some members of staff are there to pull the system down. I ensure that erring staff were appropriately disciplined. This system has witnessed deep-rooted overhaul, such that nobody is spared, irrespective of status, connections, or rank, whenever a case of misconduct is thoroughly established. This has been in practice at the board and has helped to promote discipline, diligence, and positive work attitude. I believe in the public service rules, and I ensure that all the hospitals had copies and applied the rules. The monitoring team was established in 2008 when the first permanent secretary of the board, Dr. Patrick Ofili, was in office. What we did was to strengthen this task force. With the assistance of government, we acquired 2 brand new vehicles. Team headed by Elder F. Itikri. It was succeeded by Dr. L. Wanzo, and thereafter a committee that personally reported to me. I personally visited various hospitals, and we acquired 100 lines at no cost to the hospital, as HIV management paid the subscription on a monthly basis. Later in 2012, we switched over to MTN due to the poor network coverage, especially to remote areas. This acquisition greatly enhanced effective communication. It reduced unnecessary influx into the headquarters and served as an effective monitoring tool when staff could be called upon during working hours when the folks are presumed to be domiciled in the hospital premises. We also published the telephone directory widely so that calls could be made to relevant staff across all 64 hospitals and the board headquarters. Now, we had a care magazine that had become that had gone into oblivion before I came on board. We revived it in June 2010. The magazine covers events and actions regarding discipline, promotions, transfers, training programs, etc. It also captures events generally in the state and globally concerning health issues. It is usually given wide circulation in the state, and it serves as a deterrent for those who did not want their names published for misconduct. On the other hand, it serves as a good medium to showcase the happenings of the board. In addition to this, we had over 4,000 staff that we had to manage with respect to general administration. It became cumbersome and inefficient to continue with the manual approach we had in place. In my desire to upgrade services in line with global trend, we established the ICT Center for effective file tracking and computerization of services in HMB. It became operational in 2012 and had tremendous impact in terms of file recording, promptness to service, and efficiency in all ramifications. The issue of bureaucratic bottleneck, synonymous with government services, is now alien to HMP. The adoption of ICT in the management of hospitals, which is best practices, can never be overemphasized. And then due to the important role it plays in data management, transfers, retrieval, and usage. As I reflect back to my days of medical directorship at the Central Hospital, Warren, my greatest handicap was funds to adequately run the affairs of the hospital. Now, as the CEO of all the hospitals, I was again bedeviled with enormous challenges of gross inadequate funds to support the needs of the hospital. The meager allocation interest being disbursed to the hospitals could not run them effectively for even a week. It was in light of this grim reality that the idea of internally generated revenue became not only expedient, but the antidote to redeeming the situation. This lovely idea was my brainchild and the most important legacy of mine as it removed every hindrance to effective service that lack of funds will engender. Today, it has been adopted and approved by the Delta State government. The approval of internally generated revenue specifically allows retention of 90% of the IGL by the hospital. Save the sales of drugs, which is being run centrally from Delta State's drug revolving fund. The remaining 10% of the IGL remained in government treasury. This approval was granted at the end of 2012 by the Delta State Executive Council following a proposal I made through the Ministry of Health to the Council. The funds enabled the various hospitals to execute a budget plan for the year without interruption. This includes settling of electricity bills and fueling of generators, carrying out repairs and maintenance work, provision of meals for all the staff on call duties, procurement of some necessary of office and medical equipment as deemed necessary, and to recruit some critically needed staff on temporary basis. No doubt, this scheme is laudable and has ensured that prompt and effective services are available to the people of Delta State. In recognition of this, as soon as the present government, led by His Excellency Dr. Ifeanyi Ato Okowa, took office, he expressed his willingness to allow the HMB retain the 10% that hitherto was paid into the treasury to enable it effectively carry out its oversight functions of monitoring and evaluation of the hospital, to render assistance to the less endowed hospitals in remote areas, to make them more functional, to support the day-to-day running of the HMB headquarters, whose duty it is to ensure human capital development and staff welfare. I quickly wrote the memo and proceeded and processed it accordingly. The approval came after I had been assigned to the Ministry of Education. So it is there and it stands. In the HMB, accountability is the watchword. Stringent machinery was put in place to ensure judicious management of funds. To buttress this, IGL rose swiftly from an annual generation of 12 million to 136 million. From 12 million, the next year we got 136 million the following year. These we were able to achieve by prudent revenue collection and elimination of sharp practices. Also, the hospitals gave their maximum cooperation and worked hard to increase their revenue generation in order to have a robust budget. In line with the Delta State government policy on human capital development, coupled with the need for the board to continually ensure the training and retraining of its staff in order to enhance their knowledge and increase productivity on the job, management channeled lots of funds and attention into training of all categories of staff. A program was put in place on a regular basis for inclusive and pragmatic training on the job. In-house seminars and workshops were organized with external erudite resource persons to cover various presentations in the various departments, ranging from the security guards, drivers, to professional groups such as auditors, accountants, stores and procurement management, medical record personnel, medical officers, administrators. For each seminar, provision was made for seminar materials, feeding, and transportation. Besides, the knowledge acquired from this training that they got impacted positively on the workers. Because I also believe in hard work, excellence, and merit, I had cause to review the manner of employing house officers for the mandatory one-year internship by introducing written examination in 2010 to enable us to have a merit list based on the outcome of the test. It therefore meant that some persons will be offered employment even without godfathers. This idea was not initially supported, but God, knowing that I meant well for the state, made me to have my way. Thank God, over the years, people have come to see the merit in the exercise, and it's still being applied till date. This has meant that we recruit and train the best, as against having to deal with godfathered persons who either because of their sponsors were less susceptible to discipline and got away with vices such as absenteeism. I had earlier stated that I, Dr. Caroline Ajuyah, is a product of in-service training by the benevolence of the state, and I know the outcome of this both on my person and in the services I render. Thus, I was determined to replicate this at the board. My tenure witnessed a lot of study leave with pay in the areas where we were grossly deficient: the ear, nose, and throat, general surgery, internal medicine, and orthopedics. A closer look at the statistics for training for the period of 2011 to 2013 at the Hospital Management Board will buttress the fact that training was given a premium. Paid study leave training programs, though beneficial, was now an expensive venture, as many training institutions, including the teaching hospitals, were now demanding tuition fees from the sponsoring organization. This necessitated a proper roll call of all the staff previously sent on the training. Our findings were abysmal. Some had overstayed, some staff had abandoned their program and taken up employment elsewhere, or even set up their own practices outside the state. This led to setting up of a committee headed by the then Chief Medical Director, Dr. Banuwe, and the Director of Establishment. Their recommendation was carefully examined at the board, after which a proper training document for doctors was produced. First, a rigid adherence to study leave training program with pay was set up and extended to all departments and cadres of staff, with priority given to areas of need. For instance, in 2010, approval for nursing department focused on anesthesia, pediatrics, accident and emergency, and orthopedics, which had the most slots. The board has also had to look inwards for training in obstetrics and gynecology, pediatrics, and family practice. Since the manpower was available, my predecessors had sponsored 6 medical officers for obstetrics and gynecology residency training at UBT, and they have successfully completed their program. The 6 newly trained consultants in O&G now had the opportunity of contributing their own quota towards the accreditation of Warri as a postgraduate center. The accreditation for both the West African College and the National College sailed through. Those who were trained through the residency program in Warri and have now become consultants with the board are Dr. Oyeye Loki, now in Eku Baptist Hospital, Dr. Milokwe, now in Pomaji, Dr. Ine at Ekpan, Dr. Ezekiel at Agbaru, and Dr. Enao at Ole. We never had gynecologists in all these hospitals before. They are the medical directors of the various hospitals where they are today. First, the residency training is the biggest asset HMB has, since it has produced a workforce that is capable of achieving quality and enduring service delivery in the healthcare industry. It is cost-saving to government, as we do not have to pay other learning institutions to train our people for us. It is also an easier way of getting specialized labor for the hospital and the state. We no longer pay our resident doctors who are training and working in other institutions while we are short of staff in our own hospitals. With the advent of the residency program, they now receive training and also render services in our hospitals. The improved level of practice and care in the hospital and to patients have had positive and profound influence on other staff within the hospitals and the HMP. As part of its obligation as operators of OPL 286 and 332 and partners in OPL 284, British Gas Exploration and Production Nigeria Limited embarked on a social investment program, Christian Lab Plus, which basically targeted improvement of laboratory services of selected secondary and tertiary hospitals. Central Hospital Warren was one of those selected. The strategy involved providing sophisticated automated equipment, training, and capacity building of laboratory scientists in the use of these through the assistance of the Honorable Commissioner for both Health and Housing. The management memo scaled through the Office of His Excellency. We subsequently made payment, completed 24 flats allocated to us at Ugwangwe. Today, the flats house the resident trainee doctors, an important requirement for residency training. To pursue my passion of clinical practice, especially when we did not have a cardiologist on ground, I continued with the permission of His Excellency, Governor Emmanuel Ajuyah, to run my Wednesday cardiology clinics at the Central Hospital Warren. I also received all cases referred to me and followed the cases through on weekends when I was back home. As an adjunct lecturer to Dell students at ORA, including bedside teaching. These achievements were made possible because of the collective effort of the management staff, my courage, astutness, and self-service. For me, the interest of the job took precedence no matter whose house was God. Unfortunately, the tenure of the part-time board members to both the HMB and that of Delsus were short-lived. For the 22 months that I was statutorily a member, I had a cooperation of members on policy formation and execution, but there were clear misunderstandings on the roles and responsibility of the CEO on matters relating to operational issues on the day-to-day running of the organization. After the disengagement of the board members, I remained focused on my strategic direction and priorities, acting honestly in good faith in the exercise of my duties for the best interest of the board and the state. I was at my desk on the 4th of February 2013 when an urgent email followed by an official letter arrived from the presidency through the secretary to the state government that I proceed immediately to the National Institute for Policy and Strategic Studies, PURO, certified, due to commence on the 17th February 2013, 2 weeks notice. I was thrown back. I was totally unprepared for this, as I had no inkling that it was coming. My first reaction was to reject it because the time was too short to put myself together and get ready. Of course, I could not reject it. I was nominated on the recommendation of the state government. I hurriedly handed over to the Chief Medical Director of the board, Dr. Francis Wanchako, sorted out domestic issues. Then on the 15th February 2013, my husband and I drove to several parts. But I will focus on two important things that I learned from PURO. We x-rayed contemporary national issues at the HMB impartially, uninfluenced by neither fear nor favor, until I received a posting in January 2016 to the Agency for Adult and Non-Formal Education, an agency under the Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education. Initially, I was at a loss, and I was tempted to believe this was a punitive action, bearing in mind that my new posting has a staff strength of 30, as against 4,000 in my previous assignment. However, on settling down at my new post, I saw the opportunity in the posting. Here was I, agency that at inception in November 1991 was well funded by the government of that day, as well as supported by many international donor agencies such as UNDP, UNICEF, and UNESCO. A key function of the government was to eradicate illiteracy in Delta State in line with the United Nations Millennium Development Goals, and this was vigorously pursued by the agency, whose main oversight function was to monitor all the adult education centers, which were 414 in number at the time, and to ensure that all educational materials were promptly supplied. It was also the responsibility of all the local government councils to recruit and pay part-time facilitators in charge of the day-to-day control and administration of this laudable program. Unfortunately, the local government relied heavily on the revenue released from the Federation account, and therefore, during the recession in the last 6 years, wherein they experienced significant shortfall in accrued revenue, they had failed to meet up with regular payment of the facilitators' stipend. This led to the closure of almost all the centers. Therefore, the agency was at its lowest ebb on my resumption. I saw this posting as an opportunity to revive another ailing government patient, the Agency for Adult and Non-Formal Education. I was passionately determined to put my footprints here too. Both postings to the HMB in 2009 and to the Adult and Non-Formal Education in 2016 had underlying similarities when I took them over. Both were ailing and in need of revival. But more importantly, the similarities centered more around human capital development, which is the thrust of discourse worldwide today. I was, rather than being upset, now fully and more determined to add my own quota to emancipating the downtrodden, as knowledge gained from education translates to power and elevation from poverty. In addition, the biggest investments today in our country should be in human capital and healthcare management. This will drive other areas of need, such as physical infrastructure and industrial capacity. I swung into action and immediately to examine the state of the adult and non-formal agency as well as its full mandate. My findings were as follows. The duration of unpaid salaries of facilitators in the various local government ranged from 3 months to 28 months. Total number of facilitators being paid was 1,049 persons. And what was the amount? 10,000 naira. Total number of learners was 10,455, giving a ratio of 10 learners to 1 facilitator, as against the recommended ratio of 25 learners to 1 facilitator. This meant that we had more than twice of the number of facilitators required. All the local government councils had an aggregate of 414 adult learning centers. The developed curriculum of the National Commission for Mass Literacy, Adult and Non-Formal Education was not even available in the agency, let alone production of scheme of work to ensure standardization and quality control. Many private learning centers had sprung up as a result of non-functionality of most of the approved government centers being run by the agency. The agency had fallen short of our responsibility for regulation.